talking about how
miles and miles.
We're going to be talking about how music has changed the trucking industry, or has the trucking industry changed the music. We'll be talking about how the music and the trucking has changed over the years. So we're going to be signing off of our Facebook account right here, but join us. Click the link. If you were watching us on that platform, click the link and you can listen to the whole show on our Mixcloud side. All right, let's get on to one. This one's an old one to start us off. This is called Long White Line. As you know, in the 30s is when the trucking industry started. It really ramped up in the 40s. So we're going to play some music from those early truck driving days when it was just about long hauling and building the interstate and servicing the army connections. All that kind of stuff came out of the 30s and 40s. Here we go, a little Long White Line by Brewer and Napier.
It's time for the Lead Pedal Radio Show with your host, Bruce Eldridge. He's coming at you with 5K of high-definition, wall-to-wall internet streaming sound. Keep you on the white line, keep you rolling down the blacktop, flying down that big old road. He's got the hits, don't quit, the platters that matter, and the spins that win. So join us. We'll help you circumnavigate the concrete sea and actuate the asphalt alleyway. Now, here is your host, Bruce Eldridge.
Thank you, Mike. That's Mr. Mike Murchison there right now. Hey, you know what? It was the 30s, right, when they started constructing all that thing, and then started 40s when the interstate system actually came in. But the 38 is when ATA was started to talk about competition and all that kind of stuff. And 38, ICC was issued in July of 1938. Wow, hard to believe. And 41, 50s, that's when the interstate, and then we had gear jammers. Once we got them gear jammers going, that's right, that's when they started singing about it. Here's Jimmy Loves.
Keep your truck on the highway and your eyes on it too.
Oh yeah, back in the 50s there, once those interstates were built, it was all about trucking, like this one here. Looking at the world through a windshield, little Del Reeves for you. Oh, little Dave Dudley for you right there. 6 days on the road.
You know who it is.
My favorite station. I love you guys.
Turn your radios up.
All right, today's show is brought to you by RS 2000 Tax Services. If you're looking for tax help in the Ontario, Canada area, then RS 2000 Tax is what you should be looking for. Go to rs2000tax.com. Tell them we sent you. Hey, we've been talking about how the industry has changed. Has the music changed the industry, or the industry changed the music? As you can see, things were pretty well the same back in the 30s, right? They were talking about logbooks and run down the road and 6 days on the road, and that was it. That's when they brought in all that stuff, right? In the 30s, when logbooks came in and the ATA came in, they started talking about ICC and registration and weight limits and all of that kind of stuff. 41 in the 40s when they built the interstates, and of course then they realized that, hey, we got to make sure that they don't ruin them, so they started with all the weight regulations and all that kind of stuff. But then the 70s is when things came on, and I think this is when it changed the industry, because back in the day, people were just running up and down the road. You were just trying to get things done. There was a lot of competition to do with freight and that kind of stuff. But the 70s, the first strike was back in the 30s over hours of service, and now in the 70s, of course, they started talking about fuel, and it became, trucking really kind of gained momentum in the 70s, and a lot of it had to do with this song. And this one's Convoy by C.W. McCall. The 70s created that CB craze. Convoy was the lead one out. Then there was Moving On was another great one. That's right, Moving On, such a good one. Merle Haggard right there for you. And of course, this one was great as well.
Breaker one, this is the Bandit, it's the Snowman out there. Am I hitting your sign?
Of course, fuel strikes, all that kind of stuff were really big. And it became us against them for the longest time, especially on that CB radio, like this one with the White Knight.
Down 75 or 85 or actually.
Yeah, I've listened to them forever.
I love them.
It's the only radio station we agree on.
We love the music.
Honestly, I'd rather listen to my computer's exhaust fan.
All right, so the end of the 70s, 80s is when deregulation started. The deregulation started in the 80s. But I noticed at the end of the 70s, there was a lot of, I guess, probably the word that I'm looking for is it's deregulation, so it became individual. But at the end of the 70s, you started getting these legends. The Bandit would be one, and Phantom 309. People talked about these truckers who had done it all. And so I think it's only appropriate to play a couple of those songs. Here's one called The Bandit.
From Big Joe and Phantom 309.
You never know what's going to happen next.
They always are coming up with new stuff, new twists.
The craziest stuff happens on that show.
It keeps me laughing.
You're listening to Lead Pedal Radio, music for people behind the wheel.
That brings us to the end of the 80s, of course. In the end of the 80s, brought in a whole bunch of deregulation and the Occupational Health and Safety Act. All that kind of stuff came in around the 80s. But then we move into the 2000s, 2006. 2006 is when I stopped driving professionally. I started in 82, so I went through a lot of that stuff already. And then, of course, now they say in 2006, there was over 26 million trucks on the road in Americas, 10 billion short tons, representing nearly 70% of all the total volume of freight hauled by trucks. So, of course, it went really big one there. And I noticed that in that time, a lot of it became, a kind of a pack. The trucking industry kind of lost some of its shine, I think, and a lot of it was, hey, let's just kind of stay together, although we're not staying together the way that they were staying together back in the 70s. But here's one by Tony Justice. This one's called Brothers of the Highway. Oh, that's right. Yes, Tony Justice, Brothers of the Highway. And of course, what happened after that was a lot of women came into the industry. Around 2007 is when Women in Trucking Association was formed. That's when I've been driving with women in the 80s and 90s. We had lots of them on our fleets, but not the way they have them now and today. So it's good to see women in the industry. And the Thompsons actually wrote a song about it called Behind the Wheel. There we go, little Thompsons for you right there, Behind the Wheel. And now in the industry today, people are just trying to, the older truck drivers are trying to show the new ones that, you know what, back in the day we did have it together. And some of the stuff that's lost, that is around, the camaraderie has gone, and it still goes by the person driving. Here's Bill Weaver in Between the Seats and the Steering Wheel. Steering wheel, that's how a lot of drivers are feeling this day. Unfortunately, that seems to be the way it is. So, did we answer our question? Did the industry change? Did the industry change the music, or the music change the industry? I think the industry changed the music. If I have to look at it, my opinion, as we go through things, people start singing about different parts of the industry. But I think in the core, there's always the brotherhood is what really there, and the importance of the wheel and doing what you're doing, and that is what's important in our thing. So, hey, you know what? We're gonna go out with one by Mr. GM Blacktop here. This one's called "The Blacktop Made Me This Way." That's what a lot of singers are and drivers, and GM Blacktop's a prime example of this. He's one of those people who are a driver and also a musician, and he's singing about the authenticity of the truck and why it's important to people, and that's what a lot of people aren't getting these days. Now, Mike Murchison's also another truck driver and musician, and he's singing about now the pandemic changed things, and it's not just about him anymore. He says it ain't about me, it's about all of us.
Go, driver, go. Get on down that road. Said go, driver, go.
You never know what's going to happen next.
They always are coming up with new stuff, new twists.
The craziest stuff happens on that show.
It keeps me laughing.
You're listening to Lead Pedal Radio, music for people behind the wheel.